There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
Civil War has very loud scenes, but also some pretty nerve-wracking quiet ones. Which was more stressful to shoot, the loud scenes or the quiet ones?
The quiet ones. Because the loud ones come with a different kind of planning. You know, part of the trick in film is nothing is real, and then you're making a decision about how real you are trying to appear. But really within those action scenes and those loud scenes, as you put them, there's a lot of orchestration. There's a large team of people who have a lot of autonomy in their areas, which could be SFX people or stunt coordinators or military advisors, and so it goes on, all keeping the machine moving. In the quiet scenes, that folds down, and in a film like this, which functions like a big movie sometimes, but a lot of times like an indie movie, you are shooting a quiet scene with variable weather, very few resources, very limited time, and just paradoxically, that is more difficult than shooting the big action sequences.
The main characters in this film are all war photographers. Will there be a book with photographs taken by the characters?
There could be. They took some really good pictures. In fact, some of Kaylee's pictures are used in the film. I'm a photographer myself. I have been since I was very young. I grew up with a different kind of camera that largely exists today, but I love photography, and partly what I was doing was making a film about photography. Also, obviously, journalism and political polarization and things like that, but somewhere in that is a love of photography, for sure.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
Unfortunately, there will be people who will say, it's just a film, not getting that it's also a warning. To wake them up, which works by a real war photographer would you recommend they should seek out?
Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, there are so many great, very, very brave war photographers who have challenged themselves in many different ways, sometimes to the extent of being killed. I think I would say either Eugene Smith or Don McCullen are two combat photographers I admire very much indeed. But honestly, there's so many.
Is there a particular aspect of the film that you're especially proud of, but haven't able to really talk about it or highlight it?
I don't exactly see it like that, to be honest, because my job is really just to make a film. And if I had a choice, I would not talk about the film. I understand that there's a process where you have to sell a film and you do interviews because that creates something on radio or television or a website or a newspaper or wherever it happens to be. I understand that process. But I really see my job as just the filmmaking, and that's where my effort has gone. If the film is what I hoped it would be, then I'm really satisfied at that point. And what I would rather do is just let the film do the talking, because that's what it's there for.
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car! Move, move, move!
Did you screen certain films to the cast and crew to show them what you had in mind for Civil War?
I did show them a couple of films, yes, but it wasn't to say this is what I've got in mind. It was more illustrative of something, because the film was in a sense trying to take its cues more from news footage and documentaries and lived experience more than cinema. That said, there was a documentary about a journalist called Mary Colvin, who was unfortunately killed while doing her job, and I showed them that to show the level of risk and courage that is required in war reporting. And I also showed them a Russian film called Come and See, because it is successfully an anti-war film. And most war films, and I don't mean this in a judgmental way, just in a factual way, are not really anti-war because they're too exciting or too romantic or whatever it happens to be. And I think you could say, honestly, Come and See is a strongly anti-war film, and I thought it would be a good thing for everybody to absorb.
That's a movie everyone should see, by the way. Come and See. That's
Oh, have you seen it?
I've seen it.
I agree. And it's well known among people who are interested in cinema, but outside of that, it isn't. And it's a shame because it's so incredibly powerful and so intelligent. And it's a film I admire very, very deeply.
I could keep talking about Come and See and this movie, but unfortunately have to wrap it up. So thank you very much for your time. It was very lovely talking to you. And
likewise, thank you.
All the best.
God bless America.